Not Nerd Podcast, episode 332. Some people were outraged.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Oi! Oi from across the town.
Yes, down the roads of Tualatin and Sherwood.
I see you take a drink here of something titled Liquid Death. I'm thinking that's probably not the best thing to be drinking right when you start a podcast, because what if it kills you?
Oh, yes, the severed lime Liquid Death. Murder your thirst.
We talked a little bit about that before, but I'm curious as to why they branded this sparkling water Liquid Death. It seems kind of counter to
I think it's to
the
go for the
fresh,
hard,
healthy,
the metal audience.
Yeah, the metal audience. I don't see drinking a lot of sparkling water, but I could.
Yes, on the back it says, this ruthless tall boy of flavored sparkling water is armed with agave nectar and natural electrolytes to refresh your body and murder your thirst.
So crazy. If only they would pay us to be a sponsor for their product. And I'll just be drinking some coffee tonight that I brewed fresh here in my Keurig with the little pod. And I was talking to a friend yesterday. We went to some friends for Easter, and he said, "Hey, so you drink those pod things? Don't you care about the environment or whatever?" And not to be political, because we are the most non-partisan tech podcast on the internet.
Yes, we are.
But I said, until a corporation that can produce more trash, waste, and pollution in a day than I can produce in a lifetime makes some changes, I don't feel like it makes that big a difference if I stop using.
I think you have a couple pods.
Yeah, but I mean.
Well, it does say on my can here, related, and we will get to technology eventually, it says
eventually.
Hashtag death to plastic. We donate 10% of the profits from every can sold to help kill plastic pollution. So by me drinking this, I'm taking care of, we're plastic neutral between the two of our drinks right now.
Okay, because I contribute and you take away.
So problem solved. On to the technology talks. Well, we have some follow-up. We had a broken link to some rumor about the Wyze Air Purifier. The very next day after we recorded, I got an email from Wyze that they were releasing their air purifier.
Once they knew that the cat was out of the bag on the Not Nerd podcast, they're like, well, we might as well do a press release.
Get the word out there. It is currently showing as sold out with a introductory price of $129.99. A luxury air purifier without the luxury price.
So the only reason I would even consider this is so that I could control it with my
phone.
My Wyze app.
Yes.
But I do have one in our home that is in my son's room, and now I'm struggling to find the app for it. It's like it starts with a W, but it was like $100 at Costco. I bought it a few years ago, and I think it's a pretty good one. So other than having the app that I could use with all my other home devices, I'm not sure that I'm that interested in the purifier.
But does yours have a laser particle sensor?
I'm not sure.
And they do have some different options. So they have the allergen filter, which is the standard. Then they have the formaldehyde filter, the premium. And then they have the wildfire filter, special use. So they have some different filters that you can do.
I did find mine. It's a Winix, W-I-N-I-X.
Winix, close to Wyze.
Yeah, and it's pretty good,
We have a few throughout our house and try to keep the air pure around here.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, go check out. And it does work with Alexa and Hey Google and the Wyze app and all that good stuff. And they say it's whisper quiet and the smart controls. I think that's their real advantage here over some of the other ones that you would see around. Equally as exciting, we have our monthly Microsoft Patch Tuesday update.
Yeah, they're kind of about the same. You called that one correctly.
Air purifiers and Microsoft updates. So Microsoft on Tuesday released updates to fix roughly 120 security vulnerabilities in its Windows operating systems and other software. 2 of the flaws have been publicly detailed prior to this week, and one is already seeing active exploitation, according to a report from the U.S. National Security Agency.
Now, not to detract from this wonderful article you found, did you notice a couple weeks ago that I started adding a little sounder to when you say the V word?
Oh, I think I did.
They're little sound clips from Candy Crush.
Nice. That's, yes.
Excellent, or whatever the guy says. So I'm rewarding you for saying that
Perfect.
word. And what is the word again?
Vulnerability.
Wonderful.
Yes, I'm rewarding you for saying it correctly. You'll get a little shout out in the show. But if you say it wrong, I don't even know what's going to happen.
Oof.
You might get a new remix song at the end
Nice.
or something.
I can only hope.
So other than security fixes for this Microsoft patch, is there anything else notable in here?
It's the security updates and just some other updates, but it's from Krebs on security, so he's focused on the issues that are being resolved with it. But just our monthly reminder to keep your various technology as up to date as you can. We love talking about streaming services and all the plus services. You can go on and on, Apple TV Plus and Disney Plus. Well, I'm sure most of our listeners have probably already subscribed to CNN Plus.
Yes. So let me ask this before we go on. Did Apple invent the whole Plus thing, or who started the whole Plus network?
I don't know.
There was HBO Max.
But
I think Apple started the whole Plus craze.
Plus. And they've used the Maxes and the...
steals from Apple.
True. As they should, because Apple does it right.
But this is the first time I'm seeing a CNN Plus. What can I get from the Plus that I wouldn't get otherwise? And I got to be honest with you, I haven't looked at a CNN program for quite a while.
Yes. So, I'm not quite sure. I did not subscribe to CNN Plus, and the reason why I have this article in the show notes, they have struggled to lure viewers in its early days, drawing fewer than 10,000 daily users. So I think they put in like $500 million into creating this and having additional shows and, Anderson
Cooper?
Yes, that one. I was thinking Anderson .Paak, the rapper. He does not have a show on CNN Plus, but I think a lot of their hosts have additional programming, and I think this is in reaction to Fox Nation, which is their streaming app, which I tried to look up their users, and I saw something from last year that they said they had about 100,000, I think, subscribers. But yeah, the CNN Plus doesn't look like it's doing too well. And I saw some jokes that, the only place people watch CNN is in an airport bar or waiting somewhere where it's just on the TV. But I do understand people watch CNN, but I don't know how much extra news content anybody needs in their lives.
I'm not sure that I could justify sitting around and watching all these news programs when there's so many other pieces of content I want to watch.
Yes.
And let's be honest, news since the inception has always drawn itself out so that it can place more and more ads inside of there. And I wonder if CNN Plus, do they have ads on there? If I'm paying extra, if I'm paying for cable and I'm paying for this, I better not be watching ads, but that's generally not the case anymore.
Yes.
But it just takes so long for them to make a point.
Yeah.
You're a big fan of local news, and that's my biggest complaint.
No longer.
What?
I gave that up. I think it was Q2 of 2020 when it was just an hour long of COVID drivel. And I have pretty much broken local news. I don't watch to see if their weather graphs are off anymore. It was not something I need in my life. I do want to bring in a quick this week this liquid death is really affecting my speech.
Yes, it is.
It is murdering No, it does not. It is murdering my diction. But I had this week in text messaging with our listeners and friends of the show with Mike Peterson. He said to us, was just listening to the podcast and wanted to point out that in Nate's example for Netflix, for a family of 5, there is no plan where you can have 5 different screens. Most you can get is 4 at a time with the Netflix premium. So related to the streaming, he wanted to point that out. So
yes, thank you, Mike, for pointing that out.
Yes.
And he must be a big Netflix user, because I don't know any of these things. We have so many streaming services. The chance of somebody in another part of my family watching the exact same service at the exact same time is pretty slim.
Yes. He also did have a bonus pro tip for us. We were talking about the Wyze gun safe.
Yes.
And he mentioned the Lockpicking Lawyer channel on YouTube, where if he's ever looking, he said, anytime I'm buying something that locks, I see if it's on this guy's YouTube channel. So he gets various devices and sees how easy they are to lockpick. Now, just about everything. We've watched the Oceans movies. We know that you can break into any safe, but how quickly somebody might be able to get into something is what he looks at. So
I wonder, is there some type of lock I can put on my catalytic converter to make it harder for criminals to steal it?
Yes, that's why we need to invent the club for your catalytic converter, that you could have a key and put it on there.
I'm just, I know you want to go to the next news story, but I'm pontificating. I wonder if car manufacturers will start engineering vehicles to make it harder, like perhaps put a bar across it and then put some bolts in it so that you have to remove some infrastructure before you can access it. I know it'd be a pain for mechanics, but if it only adds 5 minutes or so of work,
that would be a good selling point these days.
Okay,
well, on to the next one. I don't talk about NFTs much just because it is a mind-boggling. The whole thing, I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe there'll be a thing. But this one I saw from Coindesk.com covering the world of crypto and NFTs. Jack Dorsey's first tweet NFT went on sale for $48 million. It ended with a top bid of just $280. So crypto entrepreneur Sina Estavi bought Twitter founder Jack Dorsey's first ever tweet as an NFT for $2.9 million last year. He listed it for $48 million this week, and there was only a couple bids, and the top bid was $280. So he does not have to honor that. But I wanted to share this story to show that even Jack Dorsey's first tweet is an NFT, has dropped $2.9 million in the last year.
Well, to be fair, 2.999999999.
Yes. So not going real great. But on the other end of NFTs, I also saw another article. The headline here is just so NFT, bro. Bored Apes go Hollywood with Coinbase-Produced movie trilogy. So
I don't know anything about this.
Exactly. My understanding, the Bored Ape Club or Bored Ape Yacht Club is a very popular collection of NFTs, and Coinbase is creating a film trilogy based on Bored Ape NFT characters.
And there's lots of different apes because they crank those out as often as they can so that people will buy them. Yeah. Like, who's making these? Just some artist?
Yeah, artists. I think you could submit. I I don't know if Madonna, I saw something, maybe she created a Bored Ape. So they like ask people to create, but I mean, we're at peak NFT right now when they're going to try to make a movie trilogy from these NFTs. I just don't. Our
descendants are going to look back on this time as one of the stupidest parts of human history.
Yes.
It's going to be sad.
I don't with NFTs, but I do with Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
As well you should, because in an effort to not sell you things that you cannot resell or spend, I'm going to tell you how you can save money by getting more use out of the things you already have.
Oh.
And today I want to talk about an article that I found on appleinsider.com. And the article is titled, What to Do with an Old iPhone After You've Moved On to a New One. Now, I don't know about you out there at home, but I tend to get lots of new Apple devices and I don't really get rid of the old ones. Well, here's typically what happens. I get one, I sell the one I had, and then a few years later I
buy one of those because you want one for your collection.
Yeah, so I have a lot of old devices laying around, and a lot of people will give me their old Apple devices because they know that I collect them, and they're thinking, well, what could I do with them? And so I'm a little hesitant to share all these tips because I think maybe the free devices coming my way might be less now.
Yeah.
Since we know that probably just 3 or 4 of the people who are our friends listen to the show.
Yes.
And they're going to wise up. Starting at the top of this article, and I'm going to you be ready, Nate, because I'm going to be asking if you have any additions to this, but I'll just quickly go through them. You could turn your old iPhone or iPad into a security camera. I don't know if you knew this, but you can download an application that allows you to put your iPhone like in the window or whatever, launch this application, and whatever the camera sees can be transmitted to another device over the internet or over your network. And you can make kind of an outdoor webcam or a baby monitor or something, or a security camera out of your old device. And they mentioned an app called Presence. You can free to try it. It is free to try, but it costs like $5 a month. They have different tiers. There's a more expensive one. But I mean, if it really does work, and if you could perhaps use multiple devices for the one-time fee, it might not be a bad way to do it. I would probably recommend just getting a Wyze Cam for $30 and then paying no monthly fee. But hey, if we're trying to keep stuff out of the landfill, like we talked about earlier, it might be worth doing it. And that is not the only app. There are many others that you could try out. The other one is titled Change the Channel. But what they're really talking about is using your old iPads and phones and iPod touches and stuff. Most of them will run a Netflix or an Amazon Prime Video or Disney Plus. At the really old ones struggle, and that's usually one of the first things I do is try to see if it'll run Netflix, because I'm like, oh, I never watched the Netflix on those old devices, but I want to see if it works. Netflix goes back several generations, and so you may just want to be sitting on your couch or in your chair, just grab your old iPad and watch movies on it, instead of looking like an idiot watching it on your little 2-inch phone, you could watch it on your old iPad. So then there's also music, and look what I have right here, Nate. This is going to surprise you. This is a big surprise. What do you see here?
I see an old iPod.
Yeah, this is a 3rd generation iPod, not a touch, not a whatever, just iPod.
It's an iPod
with the click wheel, and I've got it hooked up to my speakers here, and I got some air supply going. So, if you have some speakers laying around or whatever, and you're always getting your phone out and doing the music app, well, why not just make a permanent music station out of an old iPod, an old iPhone, and an old iPad, whatever you got laying around. You could even use a Mac probably and make some type of music server if you had an old computer. How about reading in bed? Again, if you've got some device that is just sitting right next to your bed, loaded up with your book, you're probably more likely just to grab that thing and continue where you left off, because it can kind of be a pain with these multi-use devices where, and I find this to be true in my life, I always take a Kindle with me to the coffee shop because if I take my iPad, I get to messing around with the settings, and it's like, oh, it's a little too glary. I can make it brighter. Then a text message will come in, and then I'll close the app to see that, and then the game icon that I have on my little desktop there will pop up, and so it's very distracting. So just having a one-use device to do something like read a book is very handy.
Nice.
Speaking of bed, they talk about your Apple Watch. An older Apple Watch makes a pretty good bedside little clock.
Yeah.
When it detects any type of vibration, the little clock will turn on, and you can see what time it is, and you can just leave it there all the time. Now, I think Apple Watches are more valuable than they can be more valuable in use normally than just sitting beside your bed. But anyway,
you could use a phone as a bed clock as well.
You certainly could. They talk about HomeKit. They talk about other things, your old Apple TVs or whatever. You could put one in a conference room, and you could share your device with it, and kind of make a dedicated AirPlay device. Those older ones are starting to lose compatibility with some things, but anyway, Nate. So in all of these things I've mentioned for using your old devices, not to mention having a collection like I do, that's a legitimate use, I think. Do you use old devices for anything?
I do not keep my old devices around. I try to keep to a minimum of devices, but I have been tempted to get a recent iOS device that I could keep in the living room just to use the Apple remote on on the iPhone, because it's in Control Center. Now, I don't like using it too often because I'm usually using my phone because the TV's not that interesting.
Right.
But the TV remote on the phone is amazing. Now you can do volume, you can do the power, you can do everything. It's got more buttons than the classically simple Apple TV remote. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking when I saw the change of channel. And with the HomeKit, if you did have a lot of home automation devices, or even like Wyze, like we were talking about, if you have people in your house, like friends are over, or kids that don't have devices, where you could just have, or like by the front door, you could just have a device as a HomeKit controller to be able to do some of that smart stuff. I could see that being a big help.
And last but not least, I forgot to mention this when I was going through my list. Here you have a live webcam version viewer of the coast, and this is at Neharts, Oregon, USA. Am I pronouncing that right?
Neharts, yes.
Neharts. That one and Yahats and all those. Yes. I have a hard time pronouncing those. So Neharts. But anyway, I'm looking outside, and I'm looking at the thing and the clock, and it's a little bit brighter on the coast because it's 2 hours to the west, and they don't have mountains in the way like we do here. So it's kind of fun to see other parts of the world just here on my iPad sitting on my desk. It's like a window into another place. So
nice.
Use them as you got them.
Yes. You put them to use. Well, let us move on to the takes of the week. Now, you might have been wondering all through the follow-up, just eagerly waiting for us to get to the topic of Elon Musk and Twitter, which I did not put in follow-up. I actually put it in the takes just because there is a lot of news on this, and it is kind of continues to be the main news. Now, we're recording on Monday, April 18th, so it seems to be changing every day, and even these articles might not be up to date. But the big news from last week, where he became the largest shareholder, and then he was going to get a board seat. Well, after we recorded, it came out he wasn't going to take a board seat. Then the next day, he made a $43 billion bid to take Twitter private. And I was even saying last week, I was like, well, the value's like 36 billion market value or market cap. So that would be like 10% of his wealth that he would have to spend for this. I don't know if he would do that. Well, then he goes above and beyond to what you would think make them an offer they can't refuse, as you look at the historic Twitter share price, which I think it was basically equal to what it was when they went public, however many years ago. I saw somebody post a chart. So they haven't really increased a lot of value over the years. Well, Twitter, here's a statement we could say on every story just about, except for maybe the Wyze Air Purifier. Some people were outraged.
What?
Yes.
People get outraged?
And especially on Twitter, because that's what a lot of people decide to do on Twitter. But, people are just saying, oh, this would be the worst thing. And his whole thing is he wants to make sure that free speech is protected on Twitter. Now, as a private company, the Amendment 1, I was going to say, the First Amendment, as some people would call it here in the United States. Amendment 1, that doesn't really relate to Twitter, so there's always this discussion. People just say, oh, go build your own platform, which, like the quickly failing Truth Social and all that stuff. But there was some other interesting, so it sounds like the board is kind of like, we don't want to take your offer, even though it kind of makes a lot of sense. The shareholders, some of them are upset because it's like, hey, this would be a great return on the investment for having these shares. Well, I found another story. Elon Musk is no longer Twitter's largest shareholder. So that was the big news last week. But Vanguard Group, which is a massive, nearly scary, fund, public fund and investment group and everything, they now own 10.3% of the company. So they outdid them by a percentage point.
Now, what other than making money, which Twitter doesn't seem to be doing, what would Vanguard's interest in owning stock in this not very money-making company?
Yeah, that is a great question. So I don't know what they think. If they think maybe if they were going to take this $43 billion bid, that they would be able to make a quick return on their money. If they're trying to protect some of the things that they want Twitter to stay the same.
Maybe they're thinking Elon will be successful in buying this company, and so they're buying at the price now so they can get a better return. Who knows?
Yeah.
And this whole free speech thing, I keep going back and forth because, do you really mean free speech? So can Nazis go on there and just start talking about eliminating people groups and all this stuff, just uninhibited, just anything they want? Or there's got to be some types of check and balance.
Yes, where does that... Well, there's obviously, I heard there's a platform... Oh, I can never remember the name of it, but it's very similar to the other one that I can't remember the name. The one where you can write articles and make money.
Medium?
Yeah, so it's like Medium, and there's a couple of these services. And I was listening to the founder of this one speak. This other one I can't remember the name of, but he was saying there's things that are illegal. We are not going to protect people that do things that are illegal. They have a problem with the law. So, we will cooperate with that stuff. But yeah, finding these, what does free speech mean? And there are obviously legal implications, but so yes, whatever they're doing. But I have a third story that
oh boy,
all related to this. Twitter adopts poison pill in bid to thwart Elon Musk takeover. So this is, and I barely understand this, and I think we just need to get rid of the stock market and all stocks. It's just a mess. Take my money, I don't care. But my understanding is this is a policy they put in place that if anyone was to acquire more than 15% of the company, any existing shareholders gives them the ability to purchase additional shares at a discount. So if Elon Musk got up to 16%, then any Joe Schmo can go in and buy discounted shares, additional shares, which then dilutes Elon Musk, for example, or Vanguard's share of the thing. So it seems like a wacky way to go about things. Now, if he did the all out buy it for $43 billion and take it private, this doesn't apply to that, but it is a way to keep a hostile takeover by somebody just continuing to buy all the stock and take over the company. But it seems like a pretty major step to take to try to not get more money. This stuff really is confusing, this whole back and forth thing, and it seems like Twitter should just sell to, I mean, what? I don't know. I don't know the answer to this. It's a crazy story.
If you knew the answer, Nate,
yes,
you would own Twitter.
Well, that is true. And not to be left out after talking all that about Twitter, our friends at Meta,
AKA Facebook. At least you forget.
Yes. They have the Metaverse, their whole new immersive thing where they're almost like NFTs, but you can buy stuff. Now, people were complaining this week that they are looking to take nearly 50% fees for anything sold in the Metaverse. So if you created something and sold it, that they would end up with about 50% of what you made on that. So I think Apple maybe even made a comment talking about how, Facebook complains about Apple's 30% cut. And then here they are with the Metaverse. Now, Dave, I was going to ask, you have a Oculus device or a Quest device, their VR device. Have you been to the Metaverse?
Well, I've played around with the various new apps that they have. They've kind of pushed an update through that's got the new look. It's the new brand with Meta.
Yeah.
For some reason, they don't like the Oculus brand, which was an amazing brand name. I don't know why they killed that in favor of Meta. It could still be the Quest. It could still be the Oculus Quest from Meta. I mean,
they can still get their name in there somewhere.
I know. So this Horizon Worlds, I think I turned it on once, and it feels like it's an update from a previous app that was on there. I could be wrong. But, I mean, I didn't see anything in there that was awesome. But I'll tell you what, between now and next week, I will explore Horizon Worlds, which is in this article that you've posted here. But, I've tried some of their other apps, and it's becoming more cohesive, which I really do appreciate.
Yeah.
More Apple-like, honestly.
Yeah.
Where there's like the built-in browser and file browser and image viewer and all these kind of apps that you used to have to sideload third-party things and kind of hack it to get it to do, and now it's just kind of forward-facing and much more streamlined. So I do appreciate that aspect.
Nice. Well, we have talked in the past, many moons ago, about the switch to iPhone app or switch to Apple app that they have available for Android devices. Well, not to be outdone, Google releases switch to Android app for iPhones. So if you have an iPhone and you're going, you know what? I don't like these stinking iPhones. Apple doesn't make great products. I'm going to switch over to an Android device.
Yeah.
You can now have an app to help you do that. Now, I have tried the one for iPhone to Android with my iPhone. I tried just doing it, loading it on my, the other way, my Android phone onto my old iPhone device, just to see how it worked. And it was pretty smooth. It brought a lot of stuff over, photos, contacts, that kind of thing. So I'm guessing this is, very similar. It won't do your apps or your paid apps and that kind of stuff, but it'll get some of your basics over, which, just a few years ago was nearly impossible.
I was on Twitter again with the whole argument where everybody has an opinion on Reddit. Did I say Reddit or Twitter? I can't remember.
You said Twitter.
Reddit is where I was, and I was arguing with a fellow who, I can't remember in what forum it was, but he was talking about, the stupid Apple and their crappy products and their $1,000 monitor stands, blah, blah, blah. People will buy anything. So I tried to correct him with my opinion that Apple does not make crappy products. And that's why they can charge $1,000 for a monitor stand, because their products are high quality and good and work, and they're not perfect.
No.
But what you get for what you pay is a really good value, especially over time. But he just thought they were all garbage. And I'm just like, you can't make the argument that Apple products are garbage. So it's interesting to me that anyone who is in the Apple ecosystem would be seeking to switch to Android, because the Android devices don't typically have that type of brand or marketing appeal of being high quality and working easily. I suppose it depends on what device you choose, or if you're in the Samsung ecosystem or the Google's Google phone ecosystem, or the Plus One, or you can have your little pet manufacturers that maybe make good hardware, but overall, I'm not sure it's as compelling.
Yes. How often that app will be used. And another story that came out this week that you found, and it's based on researchers at the University of Wisconsin-Madison investigated many popular apps for teleconference, so like Zoom, Google Meet, all these things. And what they found, they didn't release a lot of information and details, but the headline is, "Muting your mic reportedly doesn't stop big tech from recording your audio." So we record this on Zoom, and if Dave was to mute his side of the conversation so that I couldn't hear him because he wanted to go into some sort of violent tirade over there, or talk about plans to commit crimes, the point is that Zoom's might still get some of that audio. It's just that I won't get it, which we should just kind of assume with all technology, especially Google stuff that we talk about. They're collecting Facebook. They're collecting as much information as they possibly can about you.
And I don't think that you should be under the impression that just because you have the Zoom application turned on and you're not connected to anybody else, that they're not recording your video and audio then, even though you're not actively engaged in a session. Just the mere fact that you have the application turned on, you should assume you're being monitored by at least a computer.
Yes, I like that this has been done and is coming out, so that hopefully they will not do this stuff or do less of it. But just be aware of what you're doing when you're in front of your laptop and that little webcam light is on, or if you're doing on the newer Apple operating systems, it's got the little orange light over by the clock letting me know that my audio is in use. So just be careful what you do in front of your computer. And the mute should work most of the time for the other people listening. You just don't know where else that data is going.
Yeah. And maybe don't be careful. Maybe you like to show it all.
Yeah.
Like me, I just walk around I just leave it on.
Yeah. That's just do it. Capture everything.
Do it.
Well, on to our bonus odd take of the week. It's been a long time since we've had one of these stories. This one comes from our one of our favorites, kotkey.org. In response to a Freedom of Information Act request in 2014, the FBI released their internal 83-page guide to internet slang.
Oh boy, this ought to be good.
Yeah, most of which are initialisms and acronyms. The quality
don't you remember we did an article a few years ago? There's like a parent.
Yeah, the parent. That was when I was watching the local news. They would put out those articles of what the parents need to be watching out. But this was our tax dollars. The FBI. I mean, to put together an 83-page guide, I don't even want to know how much money they spent on it. But the quality of the scanned documents very poor. Somebody scanned it in, but a few of the favorites from Kotkey looking through it. Good old BMUS. Is that one you use a lot, Dave?
I don't. Even after reading it, I'm like, I have never seen this or heard this.
Yeah, and you of all people,
Scotty.
You of all people should know that one.
Yeah, just say beam me up, Scotty. That's where the magic happens, not BMUS.
Yeah, and Dave, I'll say to you, EMFBI, excuse me for butting in.
Oh, the next one's great. JC. It could be one of three things.
Yeah.
It could designate the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, or just curious, or just chillin'. Like, how do you even know? I guess context?
Yeah, I don't know. There's MOS, which is mom over shoulder, which is one of the parent panic ones that we always see in those articles. And then another one with three options. PS could be Photoshop, PlayStation, or PostScript. So it really tells you nothing.
Unless you're a font freak and refer to PostScript as the technology for underlying fonts, or if you're an old-timey person who writes letters and have a PostScript, a PS on the bottom, who uses the term PostScript anymore?
I don't know.
And PlayStation, honestly? Come on.
Yeah. Oh, we've got to do this FBI investigation into what they were talking about, PlayStations. And then you've got SMG, submachine gun.
Well, I mean, that's in like Fortnite and other first-person shooter games. There's an SMG that you can pick up off the ground. But, I mean...
Why it needed to be in an FBI report. And then this one just kills me. Totes fresh. And they define that as totally precious.
Wow.
Yeah, and yo-yo, you're on your own. And then this one, this was in this report, the good old one that we use often, WYLABOCTGWTR. And the FBI wanted to make sure that you knew that stood for, would you like a bowl of cream to go with that remark?
Oh, man, what? I thought it was going to be ice cream. It's just cream.
Just cream.
Well, that's stupid. Who would just want a bowl of cream?
Yes. And so there is, for their annual publication that they send out to their company mailing list, Pentagram recently made a far more legible and well-designed version of the FBI's guide featuring some of their own favorites. So they actually created a print, real-life, hold-in-your-hand book with a bunch of these acronyms laid out very well. I might need to, let's see what one of these, I hope you don't have to be a subscriber because I would love to.
I'm going to guess what this book costs. It's like a little pamphlet.
Yes.
Just a soft cover, two staples. I'm going to guess this is like a $25 book.
Yes, and I'm looking, it looks like limited number of copies of the booklet are available while supplies last.
Oh, you donate to get one.
Donate to the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and then you send them a copy and they'll send you one. But I'm guessing they're probably out of it. They should just sell this on Amazon or whatever and make a ton of money. But those acronyms, some of them are just such a stretch. And that's just a few of the 83-page report on this.
Well, I think I need to get it so I can be more relevant when I'm on social media.
Yes. Well, you know what's always relevant? Our picks of the week.
Since we've talked about this before on a previous podcast, and me and my friend Tyler ordered a 2-pack of them or whatever. I think we saved on shipping by getting multiple.
Yes.
This is one of those devices that's part of the Find My network, but it's not from Apple. It's not an AirTag. It's the Chipolo card spot, and the color is almost black, but I gotta be honest with you, as you look at this, it looks pretty black. I mean, it's not almost black, it's pretty black. And Nate, I apologize, as I show you through the camera, it's taped to my previous pick of the week, I think, this box that contains all of my Nintendo Switch
your little game holder.
The reason I put it on there is because these games are worth hundreds of dollars.
And, don't want to lose that.
So a little $30 or $40 little card. So what this is, and it's very similar to what Tile offers, is a credit card shaped tracking device. And as I mentioned, it's one of the few third-party tracking devices that work with Apple's Find My network. And so just like an AirTag, I set it up in the Find My app, I add it as a device, I give it a name, and it will note it. I mean, I know where the location is because it records it. Anytime an Apple device is near it, it will ping off of it and record its location. Now, the disadvantage of this product is that you cannot replace the battery on it, which is a bummer because it's super thin. I mean, it's basically 3 credit cards thick. But what I like about it is I can add it to my little Switch case, and it doesn't really change the profile at all. It wouldn't fit inside, unfortunately, so I kind of had to gaff tape it on the outside. But I know now when I am out and about and take my Switch with me in all my games that if I were to leave my bag somewhere or to leave this case, it fell in a seat cushion or something, that I would be able to recover it rather easily and quickly, hopefully. So so if you want to check out something is like an AirTag but it's shaped differently, the Chipolo is a pretty good option, and you can buy them on the website. I'm not sure if they're available like on Amazon or anything like that, but you can just go to the website and check them out. But
Chipolo.net, I'm there now, and they do have some little disc ones that look more like an AirTag or some of the other devices, but they do look to be smaller, and I'm guessing it's probably because the battery's not replaceable and it's not Apple designed, but they have some bundles. They actually have an Easter sale going on right now.
Well, and I suppose if I had to give people my opinion, that if it's a circular small tag type device, I would just get an Apple AirTag. But if it's something that Apple doesn't make in that form factor, then going with Chipotle. And getting a Chipolo product is a very close second.
They do have some fun little colored ones and their circle ones, and then the card. It looks like the white cards are in stock. The almost black cards you can pre-order and they'll ship in May. And I do see probably why you did the deal is the 2-pack you get free shipping, whereas you pay shipping on the 1-pack. And right now you can get the 2-pack with free shipping for $60 instead of $70.
But it did take a while to come in, so hopefully now they're up to stock.
I like that. I like that there's something else that's allowed to work with the Find My network and more options. Well, not quite as exciting. My pick of the week this week is the Harwerrel Tripod Quick Release Plate Camera Mount Adapter Replacement for, and then there's about 10 different product numbers. Now, Dave, I've actually got one of these here. Now, previously, I have made the pick of get yourself a tripod.
Yes.
Everybody should have a tripod, whether it's for a family picture or just whatever it is. It's nice to have a tripod around. I carry 2 in my car. I have several more in my house, but that's me. But one of my tripods, which is, I believe, like the Amazon Basics 60-inch, a really nice tripod that's pretty reasonably priced, I had misplaced the quick release that you actually mount your camera on. And I was like, do I just buy another tripod? And I was like, well, I wonder if you can just buy the little adapter. And, they pop off of there. And if you put it on a camera, if you are moving stuff around, you might lose one. So I bought a 2-pack of these little things.
Okay.
So that I have one back with my tripod, and now I have a spare that is, for some reason, I'm keeping it on my desk because you never know when I'm sitting there working that I might need one of these. But and there's a million different options for tripod quick releases. You can get upgraded ones. There's all these fancy ones and everything. But these 2 to go with my tripod were a whopping $8.99 Amazon Prime. So I figured for $9 to have the peace of mind that I wouldn't get somewhere and not be able to mount something. I've actually, at one point, I had misplaced one, and I had to use rubber bands or something to mount a camera on the tripod. And I've purchased some cheap tripods in the past, and I've lost those. And like your conundrum, I'm like, this is a really crappy tripod. It's worth $30. Do I really want to spend $10 for the thing? But on more expensive tripods, I think it makes a lot of sense to buy multiple plates and attach them to all your devices. And then you can just quick release. If you want to have like a video camera, then you want to like a point and shoot camera, or if you have an iPhone with a clip, you just keep them on your devices, and then you have multiple options, and you can trade equipment quickly. Yes. So I will quickly reference the tripod that this one goes with is the Amazon Basics 60-inch lightweight tripod with bag, which is $30.74. But if you're really just like, well, I don't want to spend $30 on a tripod, which is pretty dang reasonable for a tripod. That's cheap. Yes. There is, in this one, I have multiples of, because it's me, the Amazon Basics 50-inch, so it's a little bit, doesn't go as tall, 50-inch lightweight camera mount tripod stand with bag, which is $14.32 on Amazon. So, and that's just a really nice little convenience. Not gonna be able to film a major motion picture on it or anything, but just to have that tripod to be able to, it has come in handy many, many times. And I also want to give a update now that we're in the 4th month of the year. If you'll remember, back at the new year, I had a pick of the Counter app. And Dave, I want to give you a little update on my resolution, if we want to call it that. Dave, what number do you see there?
Well, I see 1,005. Oh, it's the push-ups.
Yes.
You've done 1,005 push-ups since the beginning of the year?
Yes. This morning,
Nice
I
work.
passed the 1,000 mark of push-ups.
Show me your
this
guns.
year.
Let's see them. Whoa,
Look at that.
man.
You barely fit them into the webcam.
It's almost like your old swimmer day pictures that I've seen.
something like that. And I'm not doing a lot of push-ups every day, but I'm doing some every single day. I've noticed some difference, but it takes 15 seconds to do some push-ups every day. So I wanted to brag a little bit about that. So I'm going to try to keep going with that.
Well, nice work. If I keep going in my current state, I'm going to need a different kind of push-up, a push-up bra to keep my fat in order.
Future pick of the week. Manzier. Just for you. Well, we have talked at you for quite a while this evening. Well, whenever you may be listening to this.
Whenever and wherever.
Wherever. And with friends, you're gathered around the radio box listening to the Not Nerd podcast. You're having family night, catching another episode of Not Nerd.
With your popcorn and your fireplace going. It's
your
nice
old iPhone plugged into your speakers based on Dave's pro tip of the week. But yes, we do enjoy. Keep sending us questions. Keep sending us tips like Mike did. Conversations. We love hearing from everybody. Find us on the socials. Share it with a friend and get out there and tech better.
All aboard!
Bubble Bears.